What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Golf on Tap. Today, we'll be diving into our final bets for the 2024 Tour Championship at East Lake. One final week of golf before football season gets underway. Next week, I actually have my first fantasy football draft going down here tonight. But before that happens, figure I'd jump on into the stream with my man, Joey Ricotta. Make sure to go and give him a follow on X at Joey Knows Nothing to talk about our final bets for this week's Tour Championship, which I think for both of us and for probably most of the viewers and listeners out there isn't necessarily our favorite tournament to bet since there's the staggered strokes. And I know some people like to get into the non-starting strokes market. I personally don't really like betting on a tournament that guys don't know where they're standing, doesn't really exist in their minds. Like, it's just a little bit wonky to me. So for multiple different reasons, the Tour Championship is a little bit weird, but it is the final week. We'll have the FedEx Cup champion be crowned at East Lake on Sunday. It hasn't gone as well as it has in years past for the FedEx Cup playoffs for Joey and I. It's been a little bit of a bumpy first two legs, but still hoping we can finish up the season here strong and cash one final ticket before our football season starts just a week from tomorrow. But before we dive into that, Joey, how you doing here this afternoon, my brother? Ready to jump into some final bets here?
I'm ready, man. Yeah, it's a fun time of year here. Looking ahead to college football too, starting here real soon.
Woo! Woo!
Uh,
Tomorrow for my
Tomorrow.
Missouri Tigers, baby.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So I'm gonna be having to put that on. I got a fantasy draft tomorrow night, so we're gonna cut the Cubs show a little short, maybe not short, but we're gonna try to get that out of the way early, and then mine's probably around the same time yours is tonight. Um, so yeah, man, I'm excited. I mean, like you said, this week is not the most fun week from a betting standpoint. Maybe some people are into it, but like you're saying, it's almost like when you're betting just a normal golf week and you have to do excluding Scotty Scheffler, excluding Xander Schauffele, excluding Rory, and you're betting the rest of the board. And it's like, I don't really do that often.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time I really have. I mean, we've talked about it on here, but yeah, it's not something I usually like to do. So, um, I, I've got three bets right now, Jack, and we'll talk a little bit about it. And we'll talk about some matchups, but um, excited to get the season over with. More importantly, because I think fall swing is going to be a lot more fun from a betting standpoint. But this will be a fun week of golf, nonetheless.
No Scotty Scheffler in the fall. We know that. And quite honestly, Joey, for as much as Scotty Scheffler tested our patience this year with the 6 PGA Tour victories, winning the Masters along with it, and the gold medal at the Olympics too, right? I still never went to the without Scotty Scheffler market. And that's again for the same reason I don't want to go to the without starting strokes this week. Yeah, maybe it does make sense because Scotty is on a torrid run and yeah, he's likely to win the thing, but the guy who finishes second or the guy who's in second plays down the stretch, he's usually not trying to finish second. He wants to finish first. And that puts him in a frame of mind like he's making decisions out there to win. He might get a little bit more aggressive, and that could lead to bogeys down the stretch. So I hate betting on a market where, again, guys don't have motivation to be good in that market when at least I'm betting the outright winner of a tournament. I know me and his like ideals for this week align. That can't be said with the without starting strokes market. So yeah, makes things a little bit wonky this week, but I do have one bet myself. We'll get there in just a moment as we'll dive into the odds board. But as a quick reminder for everyone tuning in, be sure to jump on over to the YouTube feed so you can interact with us all throughout this episode. Let us know who you're going to be tailing, who you're fading for this week's Tour Championship at East Lake, which, by the way, Joey, before we get into the odds boards real quick, I thought I'd mention there was a restoration that went down at East Lake following the conclusion of the Tour Championship last year. So it's a little bit of a new look course this year, so much so that multiple players, Victor Hovland really talked about how, I mean, even just the look of East Lake doesn't look anything like it used to, even though this wasn't a renovation. This was a restoration led by Andrew Green, but kind of moved some things around, brought in the fairways a little bit. It's going to play as a par 71 now instead of a par 70. They lengthened the 14th hole to make that a par 5, but all in all, the course is going to play longer. But I think it is still going to play pretty similar to what we've seen throughout the first two legs of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Long rough, really important to be hitting it into the fairways and just avoiding as many bogeys opportunities as possible. I was quite honestly really happy to see the way that the BMW Championship turned out last week, Joey, because I thought the winning score was going to be around -20. I figured a few guys were going to go and have their way around that course, but it turned into a more difficult type of tournament like we usually like to see. And while, if you look back at the winning scores of the winner in this tournament in recent years, you got to also remember the starting strokes were implemented in that as well. So this usually is a pretty tough course. I think it might play a little bit tougher this time around just because it is different. And I think those visuals and maybe numbers for some guys who have been so used to playing here for years on end, I think it just might trick them up a little bit in the slightest. Nothing maybe major, but I think in terms of having a good track record at Eastlake, I could be wrong on this, but I feel like it might not be the biggest thing in the world considering this is kind of a new look course for all 30 players who are out there on the field. So kind of my takeaway of the restoration done by Andrew Green at Eastlake leading up to this week. But yeah, you ready to dive into the odds board, Joey?
I'm ready, man. Let's do it.
All right, so we're going the with starting strokes odds because as I referenced just a moment ago, I really don't like betting the non-staggered start strokes, and it sounds like, Joey, you don't have any bets in that market either.
No, not a guy for that. I
All
really
right.
don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either. So getting into the odds with starting strokes, obviously Scotty Scheffler at the top, number one in the FedEx Cup standings for the third consecutive year, Joey, but he has yet to walk out of Eastlake as the FedEx Cup champion. So going to be rather interesting to see if Scotty can turn around the tides at Eastlake for him. He's at the top of the odds board, plus 115. Xander Schauffele next at plus 230, who has been a master at Eastlake throughout his career. I think a lot of folks feel like this is probably a two-horse race between these two, but I'll also throw in Hideki Matsuyama here at the top, plus 1,100, plus 1,200 actually on FanDuel. Of course, not at DraftKings. They'll never give you the best odds out there, just as a reminder once again. And then Ludwig at 18 and Rory McIlroy at 18. You don't have anyone here at the top, do you, Joey? Bless you, my friend.
Yeah, no, I was actually scoffing at your the horrible odds that
Oh,
DraftKings likes to give us. But thank you.
fair.
It sounded
I
like a
thought it was a
sneeze because I was
sneeze.
just like,
I
yeah, no,
wasn't looking at the screen.
they're pathetic. They're pathetic.
No, it's
Um,
tough.
but no, man, I don't like this. I mean, I love the names here at the top, and I think they're more than likely it's going to be one of those two. And I do think it's like if I had to guess who's actually going to win, I think it is going to be Scotty Scheffler finally getting it done. Just my take on it. I mean, he's been too hot this entire season for him not to get it done finally. Like you said, doesn't have a tour championship yet under his belt. I think he's going to do it, but I mean, it's just not it's not enticing enough for me. Like even the plus 115s I'm seeing out there, like there's some that are in the minuses now. I mean, I'm seeing those too, and it's just, dude, come on. Like for anything golf related, I am not the guy that's going to look and look for those plus 100 markets or like minus 110 juiced, like unless we're talking head-to-head matchups where I have a 50-50 chance as it is. Like,
Yeah.
I understand like the odds are way in his favor and Schauffele's favor and even Hideki, but this top of the board is pretty brutal. First of all, Hideki, what the fuck are we going to get from him? Uh like I don't know, just last week and just everything else like surrounding Hideki, it just makes me want to stay off. Of course, he's going to finish this one through. Like I truly believe that, but like he's just so unpredictable. Like whether he's good or bad from a week to week basis, he's been more so good than bad here this season. Like he has really had a great season, but yeah, I just can't do it. Xander, if I had to pick out of those three, I'd probably go with Xander just because like the odds are a little bit better and he's very likely to do it and he's on a heater as well. But yeah, top of the board for me just does not look good, Jack. What about you?
Yeah, top of the board, really interesting. As far as the Scotty versus Xander debate, it's really tough for me. I would probably just take Scotty. I mean, you were getting him at 3-1, 3.5-1 in major championships at the end of the year. And now we're in a 30-man field where probably only 5 or 6 guys can win. And I know it's tough to bet a plus 115 when we're in this business that we're in of betting golf outrights and you want to see those big numbers, and to only bet, like $100 on Scotty Scheffler will get you 115 back. That's a little bit of a tough pill to swallow, but man, it really would be insane considering the 3 years that he's put together. If he were to walk out of East Lake without a FedEx Cup title in all 3 years, I'd be really shocked by that. I feel like the pendulum's going to swing back in his favor at some point. And even though he was pretty lost last week at the BMW Championship, his probably worst performance of the entire year, he didn't even seem like he had his best stuff at St. Jude in Memphis, and he still finished T4 there. Like, had a chance to win the golf
Right.
tournament on the 72nd hole. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty remarkable how many chances this guy gives himself. And what we've gone now, this is going to be the third start in a row for Scotty. This would be 3 events in a row for him without a win. I don't know how many times that's happened this season. I don't know if it's happened at all, quite honestly.
Not this year. It doesn't feel like it.
So yeah, feels like he's probably due. If I were to go with one of these two at the top, I'd probably lean Scotty. I do really like Xander. I just feel like with a new look Eastlake, I don't know, feel like it, maybe it's a little bit different for him. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say it does seem like if you are a guy that's following the course history, I would probably say Xander, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if we're just comparing those two, if you were to take a head-to-head matchup, it looks like I can still find a minus 125. Don't know if that's updated or not yet. That could be maybe not updated from where I'm looking right now, but minus 125 for Scotty in the head-to-head against Xander. If you're going to do that, would you just prefer to do Scotty as an outright, even though you're taking away that 50-50 shot? Like, because if he beats Xander, more than likely he's probably going to win the tournament, right?
Yeah. No, I think I agree. I'd probably just rather bet him at a plus number and you get those 2 extra strokes to start, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way I'd go about it in a head-to-head, personally.
I think that's the right approach because it's just interesting, looking at this. It looks like there is a lot of, reading an article there's a lot of money that is coming in on the matchup plays this week for good reason, because it's the same idea that a lot of people have, at least sharp better wise. They understand this market and what we're coming into with the staggered start. So they want to find a way to get exposure to another golf tournament. But in this particular case, I think I agree with you. I would not look at a matchup play unless you're betting Schauffele. But then in that case, then just bet him to win the tournament too. So like that matchup in particular, I would stay away from.
Yeah, I agree. I do got to tell you though, I'm going to bet Decky.
Oh, all right. Let's go. I need to hear this because that's when you said lower, I thought you meant like longer odds when we were off air. So that was my mistake on that because I was like, holy shit, who are you going with then?
I took one bomb from down the board. That would be pretty wild. No, I'm going to bet Decky, man. Am I worried about his back? Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely worried about it. But what it keeps coming back to is what I keep coming back to.
Hideki and Hibaki now. Now we have Hibaki.
Hideki's been hurt since we've started doing this podcast. He's been hurt for 3 years.
Legit. He needs a chiropractor. He needs a hand adjuster. Everything that you can imagine. He needs it. He's old. He's old in a young man's body.
Literally, dude. He's slowly withering into like one of those older Japanese people you see at the casino that's like hunched over. That's like Hideki at 32 years of age right here, right now. But no, for real, like he's been hurt every week, dude. I swear to God, there's injury reports on him every week.
Maybe you're onto something. Maybe he's spent a little bit too much time at like Ho Chunk Casino or something. Like he's spent just hovering over the chips.
You know what it could be too? There's a rumor that's gone about the last couple of weeks. Well, we know that Hideki loves Chick-fil-A. The guy loves himself some Chick-fil-A. He also apparently loves IHOP. And apparently, I don't know if this is 100% true, but this is the word around town, if you will, is that Hideki tries to find the hotel that's closest to the IHOP in the city that they're staying in. So I wonder if those IHOP diners have Hideki in there late
Mm.
night and he's just crouching over if it's not the right type of seating that he needs. Maybe we need to give him a king's chair at the resident IHOPs on tour.
They should just give him a freaking office at each IHOP if he spends that much time there. Like,
Apparently, yeah, apparently he's an IHOP maniac.
that's crazy. Yeah. I mean, so he would have no problem with like those challenges that you see out there. Like you have to spend 24 hours at the diner eating nothing but IHOP pancakes or something if you lose the fantasy football league or something like Hideki would be all for it. Like, please let me lose. Like, what if he just tanks his
Right.
draft?
Him and
Put me
Shota
in.
him and Shota just eating pancakes till they die. But no, getting back to serious Hideki reasons. Yeah, I'm absolutely worried about the downside of Hideki, and I want to say I'm not like really worried he's going to withdraw. I really do feel like he's going to play 4 full rounds. Like, not that Hideki needs the money, and most of these guys don't care about the money. Like,
That's
that's a
big
nice,
money this
it's a
week,
nice
though.
incentive to have at Eastlake. But yeah, it's like a lot of money, and it's low key just like it's kind of a foolish withdraw. You know what I mean? It's like you're not really doing yourself any favors here. I feel like Hideki's only going to withdraw if something goes like seriously wrong for him, and he's just been on such a good run, man. And I've been backing Hideki a lot throughout the course of the season. He hasn't cashed for me yet. But just talking about upside, which is what I believe you need to have to take down Scotty Scheffler and Xander Schauffele, Hideki has that upside. He's been playing great over the last 3 tournaments. Obviously, won the FedEx St. Jude, gained 12.7 strokes in that tournament. Also came third at the Olympics to win the bronze medal, a tournament that he was firmly in control of through the opening 36 holes and was right there until the end. He also gained over 12 and a half strokes at that event. And last week at Castle Pines, I know it was a small sample size, only 1 round. Hideki almost gained 5 strokes to the field in that round. Like, he was cooking early, and the putter has been really good for him. He's not historically a very good Bermuda putter, but just gained over 8 strokes on the greens in Memphis with the Bermuda surfaces there en route to victory. Also gained over 3 strokes on the greens at Pinehurst, where they held the U.S. Open. Those also feature Bermuda greens. And just in general, if you go and look at his Rick Rungood profile, he's been putting the ball a lot better over these last couple of months. The short game has been marvelous all season long. And just running through my numbers, his ability to hit fairways, that's really what's been giving him an opportunity on these more difficult courses, is how he's hitting the fairway consistently. If you go look at his strokes gained off the tee, second over the last 20 rounds, and he's not a long hitter. It's because he's consistently hitting fairways. The irons have been there alongside it. We know, like I mentioned, the around the green's good enough to get him out of trouble, and the putter's been heating up recently. I referenced earlier, I think there's only 4 or 5 guys who can probably win this tournament. Hideki had 12-1 and only 1 stroke back of Xander, 3 of Scotty, I think is one of the more realistic upside asks of guys who I think can win this tournament. So is it risky? Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and act like there's not a chance Hideki doesn't withdraw or something goes bad and he doesn't really give a shit after the first round. That's certainly in the cards, but there's going to be, if you're not really betting Xander or Scotty, quite honestly, most of these guys are going to be losers. And I feel like Hideki actually has the upside to go and beat those 2 guys. Like, he's been playing really solid. And I know this has nothing to do with who's going to win the golf tournament this week, Joey. If it's not Xander or Scotty lifting the FedEx Cup title, it's a little bit of a crime. But if it's anyone else besides those 2, I feel like Hideki Matsuyama is the most deserving. He's won 2 notable events, a FedEx Cup playoff event, and won the Genesis Invitational, where put together one of the best back nines, one of the best rounds of the entire season. Also was 6th at the U.S. Open, 6th at the Players' Championship, 8th at the Memorial, and inside the top 15 at the Farmers Insurance. Where else did he finish? Inside top 12 at the Century Tournament of Champions early on in the year. Like, in a lot of good tournaments, Hideki's been there. And obviously, for him to lift the FedEx Cup, he'd have to win this tournament as well. So 3 wins plus all the high-end finishes. Like, Hideki has had a really solid season, man. So yeah, 12-1. I'm going to take my chances. Full unit on Hideki this week. We're riding.
All right. You know what? When you put it like that, though, it's a really good point or a really good way to put it. Because these guys that are near the top here, or where they're ranked as far as the leaderboard goes and the staggered start and stroke starting point. Hideki, they accumulate their points all different sorts of ways. Like you definitely have to have some really good quality starts in there, but he's gone about it with a lot of consistency this season. So I mean, I do think, as much shit as we can talk about him being, random at times, which he
So
is,
random, but this would
but
make sense. He's like, no
right.
one. I swear, dude, no one's betting him this week because everyone's scared of his back. I've been quote tweeting. I don't know if you've been seeing. I've been quote tweeting
I
the
haven't.
injury reports. It's like Hideki's 50 to 60% right now. What would be the most random thing for him to do is to go win the fucking thing because he's just so random. There's no putting a finger on Hideki at all,
And
ever.
he might have just kind of somewhat made it into more than what it really was, just looking ahead to this week mostly,
Yeah.
right? Like,
And like he probably knew his spot was secure. He was gonna be in the top 3, 4, 5 going into East Lake regardless. Like could have just been a precautionary thing for him. And listen, we literally, like I said, we have been seeing these injury reports on Hideki like week in and week out for 3 years. I have seen multiple weeks where Hideki said he's not feeling good, and then, oh, what do you know? He goes and posts a first round leader, or is like 2 strokes within the lead going into the weekend. It's like you never can get a finger on this guy.
yeah, he doesn't want you to know how he's truly feeling. Like, that's what it feels like. I don't know, man. I think it's a good call. I think it's a good pick. Outside of those two, like it's the most likely thing that's going to happen. And still, if you're at what is it, 12 to 1, you said? 12 to 1? Yeah.
He was 18 to 1 last week.
Yeah. So he definitely has a shot here. I don't mind, especially if you're going, if that's your one bet this week.
One and
Fuck it,
done.
dude. Let's do it. Yeah. I'm in
Uh,
with it. I can't do it, but
I understand.
I liked a couple of others. I just want to go deeper, honestly. If we're
I feel
being,
you.
yeah.
Before we move on from Decky, though, I do want to read this quote from Brian Kirshner on X, who said, "Nothing about Decky ever makes sense ever. Robbed and doesn't have his caddy this week. Wins in Memphis. Best putting performance of all time. Starts testing a new putter before the final round. Needs a par to win at the 18th. Massively aggressive line over the water to stick it to 3 feet, even though he only needed par. Shoots -5 in the first round from the BMW. Withdraws." Like,
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, dude. None of it.
ever. He never makes sense. So I think the only thing that would make sense is for him to be apparently less than healthy when no one's on him, even though he's been playing great, and win the FedEx Cup. I think it would be hilarious.
People would lose their shit, and I'm here for
I'd
it.
definitely be here for it. I'm going to Florida next Friday. It'll be a nice extra Skrilla taken down to FLA with me.
Hell yeah, dude. Definitely do some stuff with that money.
Absolutely.
A
But
little vacation time.
definitely looking forward to it. Week 1 of the NFL down in sunny Florida with a pool,
Woo.
baby. I am stoked. But let's get to your bets here. Moving down, you didn't have Ludwig at 18, didn't have Rory at 18. We get down to Colin Morikawa at 35, Sammy Burns at 35, Keegan at 40, who is starting at -6, by the way. Ludwig's at -5. Rory, Morikawa, Burns, Cantlay, and Clark are all at -4. Cantlay's at 40. Clark's at 45. Do you have any bets in this range, Joey? I feel like you got to.
Yeah.
Are they
So,
all are they all in this range?
well, I've got 25 to 1. I got Rory.
Oh,
Um,
damn, that's a good number.
so 25. I don't know what did you read off for his number right now?
18. Did you get it at Bet Rivers?
18. Oh, I think it was Bet Rivers. Yeah. I think it
Shout
was the
out Bet
enhanced.
Rivers, man. Shout the fuck out Bet Rivers, man. Best in the
Pretty
game. I'm
sure it
telling
was.
you.
Yeah, dude. Always, man. Consistently. And we dogged them for a few weeks when they took away our enhanced odds and they gave them right back.
And they gave it right back, and they got the best odds on the market. Talk about customer service right there. DraftKings, learn a thing or two.
Yeah, learn something. Jeez, where's your plus 300 at least? Bare minimum. It was like the
Haven't
minimum you were giving us. And
haven't seen it in 2024. That used to be awesome. Nope, doesn't exist anymore.
you know why? It's because they know that people are still going to bet it regardless. Because some people
Exactly.
just stick to one book. This is why it doesn't matter how many apps you have on your phone. Okay. Get over that part of it. Delete some of the bullshit that you have on your phone. Get rid of TikTok. TikTok's ridiculous. Get rid of, I don't know what kind of photo apps you have on your phone or weather apps you have on your phone. You can get it's really, you only need one. You don't need 10 weather apps. Like, download all the sportsbook apps, sign up with an account, get the bonuses that they're going to provide you right off the bat, the free bets they're going to give you with the promo codes and all that. Shop around, get the best price. I don't know how many times you have to say that, Jack.
I
And
know.
I'm, and I'm probably missing one or two books myself even, but you should have multiple. You shouldn't have just one book. So stop just settling for like dumbness basically and unwillingness to give back to their customers like DraftKings. All right, rant over. Rory McIlroy 25-1. I like it from a long shot standpoint anyways because of the fact that he is he's really the only guy that we've seen be able to get there from since they've started this in 2019. So, 2019 obviously they started the staggered format. -5, he won it in 2019. -4, he won it in 2022. So he's a guy that can do it. I mean, with these two guys that are at the top here and on the heaters that they're on, like Xander and Scotty Scheffler, will he do it this year? I have no idea. And if it means anything to anybody, I know I was saying that course history doesn't really matter to me this week, especially off air when we were talking. I'm really not looking at that as a huge deciding factor this week. But he does have great course history here, and he seems to be picking it up. I mean, he had a good week last week. What was it, a couple weeks ago where we just shot like shit, completely awful, but he really turned it around. So I think he can come in here, get hot, and make some noise. I don't know if he wins it. I don't think he probably, like, the odds are against him obviously, but 25-1 I think is a good number for someone like Rory. Well, like you said, with that upside. Then I don't know how far you went down with the odds, but Keegan Bradley,
You do have Keegs.
I do 50-1. I don't know if he legitimately can do this twice in a row, 2 weeks in a row. That is like, I don't really see that. And then plus he's still going to have some work to do since he's starting at 6 under. He's still going to have a lot of work to do. I don't know that he can do it. I think 50-1 is worth a shot. The other guy that I saw from, that -4 is kind of like the cutoff point, a guy with upside. Jack, you were just talking about this. I think it was last week. It could have been the week before that, but we have talked about it a number of times. Bermuda Burns, he's 4 under to start this tournament. If there's one guy that I think has the upside in that area, like I don't think Morikawa can make enough putts. Like I don't think he can get that many birdies. He's a guy that, like, on the hard courses, you want him, especially the second shot courses, but he's not a guy that's going to be able to track somebody down from as far back. I don't think, like 4 under to start. He needs to start kind of even and just play a really good, strong, like quality tournament for like the whole part through. So like Morikawa, normally I'd be on him, but I'm not going to be there this week. Wyndham is also random at times, but Cantlay just he hasn't shown the winning pedigree this year. Like, he just hasn't. Burns has. Burns has shown it multiple times here this season. I think with the upside at where did I get him at? Also got him at 50-1. So I really like that number too at 4 under. So those are my 3, and I didn't go crazy. I'm still less than like my total output of what I normally would bet for a golf tournament. So I felt like if I'm gonna take some shots, like, just do it. You know what I mean? Let's just have some fun and roll with it.
Yeah, I don't hate the shots that you took at all. Especially with the numbers Sam Burns at 50-1. Uh, Still mad at him that he didn't win the FedEx St. Jude because he really should have
Same.
won that tournament had he not broken his fucking driver on Saturday. Really, really mad at him. Yeah, that one stung. That one stung, Joe. That would have been a nice payday. That one feels like the one that got away. That would have really led this FedEx Cup playoffs to being where we wanted to. But finished, obviously wasn't a win, but finished at that tournament very high up. Had a really strong finish last week at the BMW Championship. Had he have hold that bunker shot on the 72nd hole, would have ended up getting to a playoff with Keegan Bradley at -12. So yeah, I don't hate Burns. At that number in particular, Keegan, I think that's a pretty good number too. Although, even though Keegan's 2 strokes ahead of Burns, I probably trust Burns more to win this tournament. I feel like Keegan, it's just going to be coming off of a big win, a lot of emotions for him. And it's just a big ask considering where his season has been, and there hasn't really been a lot of consistency there in terms of like
So
we've seen him
random.
we've seen him flash a couple of times, but he's never really strung anything together. And I do believe Keegan is like of the caliber that could take down these guys, but it just feels like a little big of an ask to me. And this is where I talk about like the asks, like so starting with just even for Rory McIlroy, for example, at -4. So obviously he's 6 strokes back of Scotty. He's going to have to beat Scotty by 7 in order to win this thing. Well, not only is he going to have to do that, he's going to have to beat Ludwig by 2, Keegan by 3, Hideki by 4, Xander by 6, and Scotty by 7 in order to do that. Like, and if one of those things doesn't happen, he doesn't win the golf tournament. You know what I mean? So that's where I like kind of have a hard time drawing the line from down here, even though we have seen Rory do it a couple times in the past. I just feel like one of Scotty, Xander, or at the very least Decky, one of those three is going to put together a really good week. And it's, again, not to say that, none of these guys from down here can't. It's just in terms of the winning market, that's where I have a hard time, like, kind of getting down there. It was just a little bit of a big ask for me personally, but I do get the numbers behind those guys certainly for where they're starting and the upside prevalent for those guys. Just kind of splitting of the hairs in terms of the way that we went about it this week. But I know you also wanted to get to some matchups for this week, Joey, because quite honestly, the rest of the guys in the odds boards, anyone who's not at -4, not only because we haven't seen it before, but like outside of Rory McIlroy, no one's won this tournament lower than -8 since the starting strokes have been implemented, right? So like anyone below that, I really just don't think they have the upside with the other guys in this field capable to actually win the tour championship. So, quite honestly, I don't think we have to spend much more time talking about the outright board here. We kind of got everything off our minds that we wanted to there, but I do know you wanted to touch on a couple matchups this week as well, right?
Yeah, just a couple of them. I mean, really, I don't have any matchups yet. If I'm probably going to get to some, but just curious what your thoughts are.
Okay, well, let's
Um,
talk about some. Let's are these I can't find it on odds checker right now. If you
yeah,
want
no, it's fine. I got them pulled up here.
Yeah, cool.
So we have, let's see here, some big favorites in the matchup market. Like they're not really giving us. There are some that are closer, and the ones that are closer, I'm looking at. Otherwise, I'm looking at the big underdogs, right? Um, let's see a couple of them here. So we got Morikawa -125, Keegan Bradley +100. Um, that is interesting to me because what they're saying also something to keep in mind with the matchups this week. They're not taking into consideration the staggered strokes.
Right.
So that is something key of note. So it's basically just who's going to perform better this week, and that is something I like at least for the head to head sake. Um, Morikawa and Keegan Bradley. Like I I truly believe that Morikawa is going to do better than Keegan Bradley this week, just coming off of that high. Even though I'm on him in the outright because I like what his odds are, maybe he does keep it going from last week. But I think Morikawa knows that he has to do something this week to get himself into the picture. But I also think he's just a little bit more consistent too. So I could see a really good week from him. It's -125 for Morikawa is what I'm seeing right now, to +100 for Keegan. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Okay, here's my thoughts. First thing that came to mind, if Morikawa goes low in round 1, he's gonna smash that for you. If he doesn't go low in round 1, I wonder if he gets frustrated in terms of how well his season went, and he's gonna come away with no wins. I do worry. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like if he has a bad first round and he knows he's not there to win the FedEx Cup title, like I wonder if his motivation lacks a little bit the rest of the way. And again, it is a big payday, but like, do these guys really care? Like at the end of the day, like the difference between 8th and 18th is still going to pay you a fuck ton of money. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I feel like
Absolutely.
if Morikawa goes low in round 1 to get himself in the mix, that is going to cash. So I feel like there's upside there. There's also a little bit of a risk, but I feel like it's a good number.
You think -125 is a good number?
I don't really love Keegan this week. I really don't. Just no
Yeah, that
consistency throughout the course of the year. I feel like it's been a lot for him, a whirlwind, taxing,
mhm.
emotional. Yeah, I'll take Mark out there.
All right, let's look at another one that's really close. -110 both ways, it looks like, and maybe this is different on different books. -110 Tony Finau versus Sungjae Im.
Ooh, give me Sungjae.
Finau in a good group of golfers here. I don't know. Yeah, I think I would lean Sungjae too.
Sungjae's been awesome, and he has a pretty good East Lake track record. He was in contention, I want to say 2 years ago. Hits a lot of fairways. Was there typical Sungjae behavior there through 36 holes, maybe even 54 at the BMW last week. He plays a clean game. Feels like just when we're asking hitting fairways, hitting greens. I know Big Tone's approach has been good, but like the rest, his off the tee, which is really concerning to me because Tony Finau hits the ball a fucking mile. Like that usually should be where he can gain a lot of strokes on guys. He hasn't really been consistent in that area. So give me Sungjae in that matchup.
All right. So then the other one is a couple course history guys here. Hovland -125 and Russell Henley +100. I think this is almost as close as it gets in my book. Like I don't know where to go with this one either.
That one's tough. I'd probably just take Henley because of the consistency factor. Victor still struck the ball so well last week, and I had him at the BMW Championship, so I was following him, and he completely pissed away a really good around the green week as well. I want to say he was like 45th out of 50 guys in putting. Um, I don't know. That's actually a tough one. I don't
Mhm.
that one's probably my least favorite of the three in terms of like where I have a lean. I'd probably lean Henley though. I feel like Russell Henley's had a really good year. It would be fitting for him to finish like T5 in this tournament.
You, I know you don't like him for an outright, or you like the number of that I got for him. But what are your thoughts on Sam Burns this week? Just how he's going to do?
I like Sam Burns. If he was -6, I'd actually give him like a bigger thought.
Mm,
So much birdie making, dude. Um,
that's the thing for me too. It's the birdies.
yeah,
He can get low.
dude, and that's kind of been the story of his season. Almost very Justin Thomas Justin Thomas-esque, except Burns's bad rounds haven't been a complete disaster. Like Burns's low rounds are as good as anyone's out there. Like he'll go post -8, -9. He can score with the best of them out there. It's just like what he does the other 2 days. I feel like this is gonna be Sam Burns is probably going to have 2 low rounds here, and whatever he does with those other 2 rounds is going to determine where he finishes.
Yeah, I could see
Because
that
you give him 4 rounds in a no-cut event, he's probably going to go low in 2 of them.
easily. That's what he does.
Yeah.
That's what he does. If he avoids the big mistakes, he
Yeah, if
can
he
put
doesn't
himself.
break his fucking driver while he's in the lead of a golf tournament, who fucking does that?
Dude,
Cameron
it makes
Young?
me feel a lot better though about myself for like breaking my buddy's driver that he let me borrow.
Dude,
Like,
you know when shit happens like that too, you know it's just bad mojo. I'm like, this outright's cooked. I didn't want to like fully believe it. Like, he was still in the mix on Sunday and I was rooting him until the end. Once I saw him break that driver though, deep down in my stomach, I'm like, he's not gonna win.
yeah.
He's not gonna win.
Oh, that'll throw your whole day off. I mean,
For
yeah.
no reason. He was 3 under through 7. I'm so mad at that.
All right. Well, we got to get you away from that subject because obviously it's not putting you in a better mood. Burns +110. I think I saw versus Cantlay. That's kind of why I was asking you about Burns. It's
Yeah, I
because
like Burns.
Cantlay +110.
I like Burns over Cantlay for sure.
All right, so I think that will be a bet of mine because I did. That was one that I also liked. I'll just give you one more because we really don't have to waste that much time on this. But let's see. We have. I think I said. Did I say Fleetwood and Henley?
You said Hovland and Henley.
Hovland and Henley. So there's Fleetwood and Henley as well.
Fuck
-105.
Tommy.
Yeah, fuck Tommy.
Fuck Tommy, dude.
Henley is +100 somewhere. I think FanDuel. So might have
I
to
no,
go with
I,
them.
I mean, I don't know if I take Henley over Tommy. I just want nothing to do with Tommy. I don't want to bet on him. I don't want to bet against him. Just act like he's not here.
Oh no, I would like to bet against him if I can. So I'm
But
gonna go with him.
But also, couldn't you see Tommy Fleetwood randomly coming in third somehow in this
Oh,
tournament?
he could get a top 5 easily. I think
So
that's what
random.
he does. That's what he does is top 5, top 10, and just call it a day.
I just kind of want nothing to do with him ever.
Yeah, I feel you. All right, so maybe avoid. I'm not giving the advice that somebody should do that, but I'm just yeah, it's It's Tommy Fleetwood. We're blending names here at this point,
Tommy
but yeah,
Henley.
Jack, that's all I got, man. That's all. I don't know. Like matchups, it's kind of interesting. I don't know. Outside of that, I mean, haven't looked at any of the props yet. So what do we got? We got our final one and done of the year.
We do have our final one and done. Before we get there, I will say just a couple of guys I like from the back. I'm not going to end up pulling trigger on this. I think there's an Aaron Rye 350 to 1 with staggered strokes on the each way market. And the only reason I recommend that is because you get a top 3 each way, and at 350 to 1 slash by 5 is 70 to 1. So like you can get a 70 to 1 on Aaron Rye to come top 3, which I think is like kind of interesting. It might be out of reach for him, but I thought that was like an interesting number. But I feel like Aaron Rye from down here is someone you could make money with, someone who's had a really good season, and like I could definitely see him capitalizing on at Eastlake and like finishing inside the top 10. I also kind of feel the same way about Justin Thomas. I feel like Justin Thomas, again, he has those low rounds that can like vault him up this leaderboard. So I'm not going to bet on them in the outright market, obviously, but those were kind of two guys from further down that if you were thinking about taking like a top 20 or a top 30 market, or even, like I said, taking their each way outright just so you can get like a 70 to 1 on their top 3, like I don't think that's the craziest thing in the world. So definitely just wanted to shout that out as well. But yeah, we are in the final week of one and done, Mr. Joey Ricotta, and I don't know how we're gonna do this. It's not the closest battle in the world, I can't lie to you. You are
Yeah,
down,
you smoked me this year.
yeah, I think you're down 250 points, and I also have Xander left. I saved Xander for Eastlake. So I
I
think
knew
in
you were
order for
gonna take
you,
him here, so that's why I took him last week, and it
yeah,
didn't really help my case that much. But
he beat you. I mean, he beat me. He beat
yeah,
Cantlay,
didn't do
Xander.
much though.
Yeah. I mean, we could do what we did last year and go complete reverse. And if Xander somehow comes in last and your guy wins the tournament, you can win the one and done. I think you gave me that opportunity, and that's because I remember taking Max Homa at the Tour Championship, and I needed him to win, and he came like last.
So,
So
so you're saying if Xander finishes last somehow?
if Xander, I feel like that's the only fair way for this to go down. I'm up like
Well, if
250
that
points.
happens, you deserve to freaking lose because Xander,
Exactly.
you cannot finish last. Like, there's like, how awful would that be? Not you deserve it, but like, come on, Xander, what are
Right.
you doing?
I deserve to lose if Xander comes in last. That's how unlikely it is.
All
That's
right,
what I'm
yeah.
saying. I think it's the only fair way to do it. And I also think that's the opportunity you gave me last year when I was trailing going into Eastlake. And I'm pretty sure I was down a pretty substantial margin as well.
Yeah, I like that idea. So
Awesome.
in that case, do I need to pick anybody?
Uh, you do need to pick someone because you need your guy to come in first, and Xander needs to come in last in order for you to win.
I have to actually okay, got it. Who do I have left though?
Yeah, we're getting into it here. Oh, are these no,
Like this week is not like I'm pretty sure I burned the entire top of the board. I think I might have had Cantlay left.
I think you do have Cantlay. I'm looking through this right now. Hold on. You have not used Cantlay. Let me look up these starting strokes from who. Oh, you haven't used Ludwig. I don't think either.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you haven't used Ludwig. No, you haven't. You haven't used Ludwig. You haven't used Cantlay. You haven't used Keegan.
Let's see.
Those are really the only guys who you'd probably want to
Starting
use.
strokes. I mean, Ludwig's 5, Keegan's 6. I didn't really care for the number, I think, on the outright for Ludwig. Ludwig's number on the outright was 18.
18.
Keegan's was like 40 or 50 that I got him at.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I went there instead of Ludwig. But if we're talking here, I would say Ludwig has probably a better shot to actually go low and win. So yeah, let's go with Luddy. Luddy F baby.
I agree. I think he has to be the pick for you in this week. And by the way, I did go back because I thought we placed a wager down this year for our one and done, and we did. I went back to the 2023 Sanderson Farms
Oh
Championship live
boy.
stream that we did. It's only $50, so it's not the end of the world.
You
And
put 50
plus,
on it this year? All
we
right.
put 50 on it this year, and quite honestly, I don't feel bad one bit taking it from you because you cashed a Johnny Vegas 90-1 and an Aaron Rye 40-1 last month of the season. So you know what? More outrights than I had in the final month. I don't feel that bad about it, brother.
No, I don't either. I always own up to my bets.
And
Always.
I'll get you back at your wedding. Wink, wink.
And see, there you go. See, I don't care. Just buy me
We're
a
all
drink.
friends here. We're all friends here.
We're good. And you know what? I'm coming for you next year. That's all I'm gonna
Oh,
say.
I know you are. And bro, last year I thought I had you nail and coffin in the ground, and you
Well, you
had
give
a
me
major.
a shot. You
No, you not because I gave you a shot. You ripped it through the major championship season. You went unbelievable at the majors last year. I think you had 3 winners and one and done in the majors last year and ended up stealing the thing from me after I got off to like a roaring start. So you deservedly won last year. It's been a fair battle through these first couple of years that we've done the one and done together.
It's been really, really fun, man. I'm glad that we started incorporating that into the show too, because I think when we first started doing these shows, we were not even thinking about one and done. And yeah, man, this year though, you've owned it. Like I gotta say, this entire season, it has not been close. It's been a one man. Okay, it's been somewhat close at times, but for the most part, you've had full control over this entire season. So like my outrights that I'm winning, I'll take the money. Don't get me wrong, I will take the money,
Right.
but it's not even close when it comes to this. So that is what makes it fun. Like that's how you know though that it doesn't really matter. It's all about luck at the end of the day. Like you could put in your most knowledgeable guess when it comes to things, or most like your best guess for who's going to win the tournament, who's going to place better. Like it is all about luck when it comes down to it. So it's been fun.
It's definitely been fun. And I also enjoy looking back at years in the past to see like who we took at random certain events and stuff. Cause I literally have kept all of the sheets. I have like 10 post-it notes in front of me of our one and done that I've kept since the fall of 2022. And looking forward to continuing it over into the fall of 2024, as this is going to be the last tournament that I'm going to be betting. I believe you as well until the start of October. Of course, there is that tournament in a couple of weeks that I don't believe exists. It also has a new title sponsor this year, so it is no longer called the Fortinet Championship. I think it is the dumbest place tournament on the PGA Tour schedule. You have a week off, and then you come back for that tournament, and then you have another week off, and then you have the President's Cup. It just doesn't make any sense
Yeah,
whatsoever. It's just
I
wonky.
we've talked about that in the past, and it's the dumbest thing they do.
Yeah, I really hate that. And plus, I think it adds just a little extra luster to that special cock trophy that they got down in Jackson, Mississippi to kick off the fall, baby. So, Joey, until then, best of luck this week, my brother, with your outrights. We'll see how it winds up going in the one and done. It would be a pretty catastrophic loss for your boy if Xander wound up finishing last and Ludwig came through. We'll be talking about it here on the show sometime soon. But for another great season, Joey, thank you for coming along with me, jumping up on the show. It's been a lot of fun to get into the world of golf here together, and super excited to continue that on in the fall next year, my friend.
Absolutely, brother. This has been a lot of fun as always. Another great season. Not as many outrights for
I
either one
know.
of us as we wanted to. So that's the only like kind of pain point, I think, if I'm looking at the season.
We still got the fall. We still got the
We got the
fall.
fall. That counts. It's the year, right?
Exactly. They
We're
went back
counting
to
the
the
year.
calendar year schedule this year. We're going to sort things back out here in the fall. No Scotty Scheffler. I'm going to be in the nitty gritty. We're going to be watching jabronis winning these golf tournaments and hopefully cashing some big tickets alongside it.
By the way, the cock trophy, best trophy in sports.
Bro, I low-key might try to send it down to the middle of nowhere, Mississippi, to see if I can get credentialed for that tournament, because how sick would it be? How
we
sick
need
would
it.
that be?
We need a freaking replica that you can carry around for like my bachelor party or something.
Dude, if they sold that thing in the pro shop, I don't care what the price tag would be. I would buy a replica of the cock trophy, put it back on the wall, hang it up here on the show, because that thing is a beauty, baby.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But anyways, Jack, as always, man, been a pleasure. Great season. A great whatever we're calling it. It's a season, obviously. But yeah, man, we're gonna do this. Next year we're taking down 20 outrights combined. I'm calling it now. 20
Come on, baby.
outrights combined. And if we don't hit that number, then it was a failure. Well, all right. That's putting a little too much pressure on it. But we're gonna make some money next year. We made a little bit of money this year. We're making more next year.
I do, man, just week in and week out, from the start to where I am, and I bet you feel the same exact way to where I am right now, just feel so much more knowledgeable about. And yeah, of course, at the end of the day, it still takes luck, right? But I still
Hmm.
feel more confident in my entire process. I feel like I'm just more aware of what guys' strengths are. I'm more familiar with the courses. Just another year of racking up knowledge that'll hopefully help lead to some more tickets next year. And I don't know if 20 is going to be in the picture, but I really do believe we can come back with a big number. It was a slow start to the year. Scotty Scheffler stole so many tickets and money out of my pocket. It was as frustrating of a year as it's ever been, Joey. And quite honestly, looking at the numbers, it's not like it was a complete disaster of a season. I'm break even right now. So if I win
There you
this
go.
week or go up in the fall, it's still going to be a smashing success of a season. And that's why you got to love betting on golf.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too that I think, if you're just a listener or watching this, I shouldn't say just a listener or watching. We appreciate it, and that's what keeps us going and
You
doing this.
schmuck.
Yeah, I know. Not trying to be an asshole at all. That didn't come out right. But what I'm saying is, if you are listening and watching this, there's stuff to take away from this show because even though you might not have had as many outrights or whatever this year, like if I don't know if you noticed, but the shows that we didn't do, like the weeks that we took off from the betting show, you guys were still having preview shows weekly and all that and recap shows, but I bet less. Like I didn't have the time sometimes to put in the amount of research it took, but then other times I might have had a little bit of moments where I could put in the research, but it didn't feel right because I couldn't bounce that off of somebody else and then get your thoughts on it as well to either reassure myself of some of the bets I wanted to place or get a better idea of the course, things like that. So like you have helped me being on this show become a better. So I hope that, us together by doing that has helped other people watching this to, make up, reassure themselves or point them in the right direction. So like, at times, even though when we're not hitting those outrights or getting that money like we want, hopefully it's just helpful.
Yeah.
That's really the main thing. Like getting wiser and smarter about how you're placing bets and how you're approaching things. That has been, I think, our goal this entire time. And I'm proud to say another season a success that way. 100%.
Absolutely, absolutely, very well said, and thank you very much, Joey. But yeah, that's as much as I want people to come on here and tail our outrights into cash tickets with us, yeah, that is great. But like you said, there is a greater takeaway, and I think the strategy in terms of how I go about my card and how I like to go about things, that's probably what I want people to take away the most. Is just how you get to these thoughts, what you're looking for. You can come to your own conclusions, and we're obviously not all going to agree. We're going to disagree on some players, right? Like Joey, we do that week in and week out. Me and you
Every
are
week.
not, we're not going to have the same feelings on guys. That's going to be the same way with the audience. It's just providing the information and laying the groundwork out there for you to make your own decision. That's really what I truly enjoy doing with the show. And I love learning. And if I can share my knowledge on this stuff and all the nerdy golf information that I take in and week out, that makes me happier than anything in the entire world, my friend.
Absolutely, man. Me too. Me too. And you know what? RickRunGood.com, that custom model.
Shout out.
Beautiful.
Bro, I can't believe we
Beautiful.
bet before that thing. Holy fuck. Like,
I know,
legitimately. I can't believe we bet
I
before
can't
that.
believe we won bets before that.
How? Legitimately, how? Legitimately, how? I don't know. It's changed
We
the game
did though.
completely.
We
And
did.
that's why I feel more confident about going into things next year. I feel like we're both getting better at seeing the data, certain things we're looking for, trends and whatnot, right? Week in and week out. It's just another learning opportunity. It's just more data for you to store in your head. So yeah, that's the fun and the stories within the stories of golf betting and what hopefully made it fun for everyone out there to tail us throughout the course of the season. And don't worry, we'll be back again for the FedEx Cup Fall and the 2025 campaign starting in the new year. But I think that's probably a good point to wrap it up, Joey. We're closing it on an hour now, which is kind of crazy for the Tour Championship, but it is the last one of the year. We had some good stuff to get off our chest. But to everyone out there who stuck with us until the end, thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. Daniel, Thank you for checking in. As always, greatly appreciate your support. To everyone who tuned in as well, please be sure you go and subscribe to Golf on Tap for free wherever you may listen to your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Also, go and show some love to the On Tap Sports Network on YouTube. Go and hit that subscribe button. And make sure to go and give Joey some love too. At Joey Knows Nothing on X. You can find me at Jag Bushman 2 for the show's page. Check that out at On Tap Golf. That's 100% fact. Shout out Confucius. Let's cash some money this week, Confucius. Extra money in the account, baby. We're not stopping on this show.
We're not stopping.
Not stopping. To the moon. Crack them. Lock them. We'll see you next time, folks. Joey, you're going to have to hit the end button because I'm not in this mug. But till next time, everyone, we greatly appreciate you all.
Later.
Crack them. Later.